While we know the Rothschild Investment Corporation has purchased Bitcoin via the GBTC investment vehicle, not many people know about the Bitcoin Investment Trust or the string of companies that directly and indirectly own this GBTC Bitcoin Trust. So which companies actually own and manage GBTC? How is this all connected directly to the Nasdaq Corporation on Wall Street in New York City? And is there a vested interest for Wall Street insiders to rocket cryptocurrencies to the moon when we least expect? Let's discuss. Hey everybody, I'm Gary Palmer Jr., you're you, and together, welcome to Minting Coins. So in this video is essentially a follow-up video to the video from earlier today. And so earlier today we were talking about how the Rothschild Investment Corporation has been investing into Bitcoin via the GBTC investment trust, the Bitcoin Trust, the investment vehicle that accredited investors can purchase Bitcoin and get Bitcoin as a part of their investment portfolios. And as a follow-up to that, I really wanted to talk about GBTC. What is GBTC? Who runs GBTC? And how is GBTC owned with all of the different new blockchain companies and existing financial institutions in the world? Where does GBTC fall? And how does it fit into this ecosystem, which might be important for you to know, so you know how to compare and contrast information when you see from GBTC versus information from the real actual Bitcoin, of which I'm sure you're holding and securing your own private keys. So with that being said, why don't we just dive right into it? It's probably going to be a pretty short video, just getting you this information. So let's take a quick peek at the marketplace and dive into some information, and let's discuss. Excellent. So taking a quick peek over at coinmarketcap.com just to see what the Bitcoin price is and check into the Bitcoin price. So we're still relatively near the same area that we were earlier. I think our Bitcoin dominance has, was it 46 earlier or 48? Well, nevertheless, Bitcoin is here, $45 billion market cap, more trading than Ethereum in the past 24 hours. Only 16.4 billion Bitcoins, only 16.4 million Bitcoins in existence. And that's where Bitcoin is. And so GBTC is not in this list, is it? GBT, nope, we got GBT, which is the GameBet coin, but there's not the GBTC. So when we go to Google, we can pop in GBTC there, and I guess we can see that their market cap is apparently $728 million. So if this was on the crypto coin chart, 728 million, 728, it would be number 9 apparently. And it's currently $396 a share, and fluctuating between 397 and 314, up 1.5%, I suppose, in the past 24 hours here. This is the Bitcoin Investment Trust that's represented by GBTC. So what does this all mean? What is GBTC? Is GBTC Bitcoin? Let's take a look at some information on the web, and let's dive a little bit deeper. So starting over at Reddit, you know, people were talking on Reddit just a week ago, wondering why people are purchasing GBTC, because effectively it's much more expensive to purchase GBTC right now, generally speaking, as it would be just to purchase Bitcoin outright, where you can actually own your own private keys, where when you buy a share of GBTC, that's just like a share of a company. That's not that's not directly owning Bitcoin. So when the Rothschild Investment Corporation purchased GBTC, you know, they're not holding their own keys, and so that's really interesting. And the reason that's interesting is because on one hand they can be using this investment vehicle to be acquiring Bitcoin as a part of their portfolio, and literally with the other hand they could be purchasing their own Bitcoin and stockpiling and with Bitcoin directly as well. And so he goes into a little bit detail here and says that GBTC is a kind of ETF-like instrument for Bitcoin, which is traded on regular exchanges. Like I'm pretty sure like perhaps like stock exchanges are talking about, because it's not on Poloniex or any of those things. And so we talked about this in the last video. With the ETF, you need to be an accredited investor, and not only do you need to be an accredited investor, but what was the other thing? When you purchase in the GBTC, then it has to stick in there for a year. You can't sell within the year. So turning over to Wikipedia and taking a deeper look into GBTC, what do we see? So GBTC, when we look it up, we find out that essentially all this leads up to the digital currency group. And we talked about the digital currency group several times before, because the digital currency group is an owner of both CoinDesk.com, the news and information website, in addition to COINBASE, which is the online exchange for people to exchange their fiat currencies for cryptocurrencies, such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. So the digital currency group, or DGC, is a venture capital company, and it's focused on the digital currency market located in New York City. So its history is that it was launched in 2015 by Barry Silbert, who you may or may not be familiar with, who previously founded Second Market Incorporated. And so it started off as an angel investor, providing funding for the earliest companies, including Coinbase, BitPay, and Ripple. And so, you know, very big names connected to each other in this conversation. A lot of decentralized technology or centralized technology. So the digital currency group was formed when two businesses, Genesis Global Trading and Grayscale Investments, when they essentially merged and became one company, and they were combined with a seed investment from Barry Silbert. And so Barry Silbert took his seed investment and he combined the Genesis Global Trading with the Grayscale Investments, and then they had this one company. This one company being the Digital Currency Group. All right. So the Digital Currency Group now exists, and the Digital Currency Group came from these other companies coming together. And so what are the subsidiaries of the Digital Currency Group? So the Digital Currency Group owns Grayscale, because this is one of the two companies that came together to create the Digital Currency Group. The other company was Genesis Trading, which again came together. And then there's the other name that we know so well, which is CoinDesk. And so CoinDesk is a subsidiary of the Digital Trading Group. And then we know as well Coinbase is a company that they have ownership stake in. So there's several, being an investment services company in a blockchain space, there's going to be several different companies that the Digital Currency Group is directly connected to. So we're going to focus on Grayscale for the purpose of this video and the purpose of this conversation, because Grayscale is the company, it's a digital currency investing firm, which actually manages the Bitcoin Investment Trust. This is the BIT. And so the Bitcoin Investment Trust shares, the BIT shares, are the first publicly quoted securities solely invested in and deriving value from the price of Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin Investment Trust that Grayscale manages trades under the symbol GBTC. So GBTC is the ticker symbol for the Bitcoin Investment Trust. Little confusing. You think they would use the same sort of acronym for both, but all right. And so the Bitcoin Investment Trust trades under GBTC, and it's only available to accredited investors. All right. So the Digital Currency Group. Who owns the Digital Currency Group? So the Digital Currency Group, previously founded by Second Market, invested in companies. So the Digital Currency Group was formed within two businesses built under the Second Market parent company. So this is the part that I forgot to call out for myself. So what color are we going to make this? We got blue, purple, let's do gray. I haven't used that yet. So the Second Market parent company. So when we go to Wikipedia and we look up the Second Market parent company, this is redirecting us from Second Market to Nasdaq Private Market. All right, so what's going on here? Why do we get to the Nasdaq Private Market page? Well, the Second Market changed its name to the Nasdaq Private Market, right over here, after being acquired by the Nasdaq in a joint venture with SharesPost. And so now the parent company of the Nasdaq Private Market, which is the parent company of a Second Market, is now the Nasdaq. So let's reverse this. Let's reverse this change. And here we are with the Nasdaq. What is the Nasdaq? The Nasdaq is an American multinational financial services corporation that owns and operates and is listed on the Nasdaq. This is the Nasdaq stock market in America, and it also owns and operates 8 European stock exchanges as well. And this American multinational financial services corporation is headquartered in New York City. All right, so now let's follow the chain backwards. So we have Nasdaq Incorporated, which is the Nasdaq, the American Multinational Financial Services Corporation, and they own a company called the Nasdaq Private Market. The Nasdaq Private Market was formerly known as the Second Market, and this is all founded and run by Barry Silbert. And so the Second Market, or the Nasdaq Private Market, owns and underneath it was built the Digital Currency Group. The Digital Currency Group has a subsidiary, which is Grayscale, and Grayscale manages the Bitcoin Investment Trust, the BIT, which is listed under GBTC. So that's really interesting. It's a lot of hops to get from the GBTC Bitcoin Trust a share, right? And to connect that all the way back to Nasdaq, as the fact that Nasdaq, through a chain of companies, actually owns the GBTC. And so why is this extra interesting? Why is this extra important? So what do we have? So in the previous video, we were talking about how the Rothschild Investment Corporation has purchased GBTC. And by purchasing the GBTC, it's hedging its portfolio. So if some of the companies in the portfolio go down, but Bitcoin goes up as we're all expecting it to, then that's going to be really good for that portfolio. You would imagine that with Nasdaq having the foresight into seeing what's happening with blockchain technology, Nasdaq realizes that there's a huge potential for all financial services to get disrupted. A lot of these leaders in financial services are waking up. These are very, very smart people. We can't discredit that. I mean, there's people who, go into comments of this video and lots of other videos, and sometimes these leaders are really not looked highly upon, but still they can see the writing on the wall. Not everyone is a CEO of Blockbuster. There's definitely a lot of executives that are recognizing how they can get disrupted, and because of that, we see executives at all sorts of financial institutions mining Bitcoin, mining Ethereum, investing in Bitcoin, investing in Ethereum, major Fortune 500 companies doing the same thing, governments doing the same thing. The writing is on the wall, and we see more and more signs every day that there's a turning of the foundation of the mainstream underpinnings of industry, finance, technology, education, turning for Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So with the Nasdaq is purchasing companies that have to do with blockchain technology. They're purchasing, apparently these other blockchain companies and the shares of these blockchain companies that are then listed on the exchanges that they own. And it's really interesting to just see how it's all connected. And so it's not a stretch from the imagination to wonder about the vested interests when the interests that you have are, equally distributed across all these different areas. When they have stocks and they have bonds and they have, all of these sort of different security vehicles. The one that is on the playing board and they have direct ownership in is GBTC. So if there is a potential of an ETF or a potential of a share, or as this is investing on the market, Nasdaq through the chain of these companies has a serious interest in having the GBTC be essentially the #1 of all the players that come out and start playing in this new world of trading in the traditional markets. And so I'm not sure what to make of this. It's just really interesting to have this information and to share this information. And I'm interested to know, what do you think? What do you think about GBTC? What do you think about the fact that it's a way for investors to get involved with Bitcoin without the security of them owning their own private keys? Do you think that the hedge fund managers and the people who are purchasing GBTC, do you think they're also purchasing their own Bitcoin? And most importantly, what do you think is most interesting about the connection of GBTC to Nasdaq, or the digital currency group Coinbase and CoinDesk all being connected through the ownership to Nasdaq as well? Very, very interesting. I'm sure there's some levels of independence there, but at the end of the day, it seems as if that centralized ownership definitely goes in one direction. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. So share your comments below and let me know what you think. I'm really interested to read those comments and be part of those comments. Tap that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And keep learning, keep educating yourself and your family and your friends about Bitcoin and blockchain technology. We'll be talking again soon. I'm glad until then, we're minting coins.